All right, welcome back. On RealCopStoriesVideos.com, we have 358 cop stories. Look them up, 7, 10 minutes long. Gross alerts, vice, narcotics, gangs, weird stuff, animal stuff, dogs stopping for red lights. Weird, okay? People hanging from, naked guys hanging from beams. They're gross alerts, so look them up. It's pretty good. Now, continuing on, we have 146 questions and answers. And if you want to ask me a question, which I'm going to answer, or I'll answer, is go here, rsbcopstories@gmail.com, and I've been answering you directly. And then also, we're doing it now, we're answering them on video. The question was, how long do squads last together? And so hopefully this next segment I can finish it. It's hard to, I'm long-winded, I'm Latin, and I use my arms and my mouth very frequently, sometimes in coordination with each other, but anyway. So the last thing I was telling you is that I made top step and I got to a squad that was a little, not want to say dysfunctional, but a little bit fragmented in the sense that they had no supervision, no control, no stability. I call it stability because you need, everybody wants to have a trusted supervisor. Everybody wants to come to work knowing what they're going to do that day, knowing what's asked of them, knowing what's expected of them, and all that. And they weren't doing that. They were doing warrants every day. God bless them all. But that's about it. They weren't really talking to each other like you would have a squad talk to each other. See, I use that criteria from way back with the first squad I told you about, with the 7 of us working majors. They was so tight for 6 years. I took a lot of that with me. Some of the bad I kept there. I didn't want to bring my problems from home to work, which that boss did. But the good stuff I brought with me, and I wanted to duplicate that. And it took a while. At first, there was some moaning and whatnot. And the first thing I did was I had a Secret Santa. Okay, and of course 2 of the guys in there. Remember now, I had 7 men and 2 women. Of course, 2 of the top guys pissed and moaned about it. They're calling some, the bad words for gay people and all that, all that kind of fine. So I said, well, I said, we're going to do it. It's an order. Okay. And they went, whoa, an order, whoa. And they were kind of, I've only been there like a month and a half. I'm already shouting these orders, right? And I said, but by the way, and they're all looking like, whoa, because I never done that before. I never heard that before. And I said, oh, by the way, the order also includes, and they're all looking like, uh-oh. I said, the order also includes that the day of the Secret Santa, we're going to go have lunch at 10:30 on me. Then we're going to exchange gifts, and then we're going to get out of there at 2 o'clock. All on the clock. And that's an order. And they looked at each other. They're just smiling, thinking, okay, this guy's the real deal. He's giving us orders that we can follow, man. This is pretty good stuff. So anyway, so we had Secret Santa. Of course, once it got closer, the biggest loudmouths, who did you get? Who did you get? And they're all like, F you, F you. Okay, these are grown men. Okay. First they pissed them out about it. Now they're all excited about it. Who's got what? I think it was a $30 limit on the gift. Some guys went a lot more. Some guys stayed at 30. But so that, I found that was probably one of the key ones that kept my squad really strong, started to get them strong. It's about a month and a half in. And then I'd bring food to them when they had to work over. I allowed them to believe how simple this is. I allowed them to eat. Our end of shift was 6:30. Okay. We do warrants at 3:30 or 4. We do the math. The warrant takes, I found out that for each search warrant we served, each body attached to the warrant, arrestee body, it's at least an hour and a half per body. Just kind of like a formula. So if you have 2 bodies of 3 hours, it's going to do everything. And it's not really anything scientific about it. It's just something I'm sitting back looking. Okay, we had 4 people. It's going to take 4 hours. I mean, it's just weird how that worked out. It just takes a lot more work. You have to book the arrestees. You have to write the reports. You have to book the evidence. So it just seems like every body you attaches about an hour to each incident, or an hour and a half. It's just the way it works. So we'd be just starting to do our paperwork, and it's time we're into shift. These guys are hungry. They've been working since So I did this within the first week. I went out on my own, bought a bunch of pizzas, came in and said, everybody just stop. And again, they're all learning about me. I'm learning about them, but they're learning about me. I'm the new boss in town. They look, what? I said, we're going to eat on overtime. And they're like, oh my gosh, nobody's ever done it before. Because I found out later on, the other top people that came in here before I got there, we're not going to stop to eat. How dare you think you're going to eat on city time? Now, really? I get hungry on city time. That's what I always thought when I was a young policeman. I'm going to eat on city time, okay? It's crazy. You can't. That means that if people ate at 11 o'clock and you work all the way until 11 o'clock, they're not going to get any breaks. You're supposed to have a break every 4 hours. You're not getting any food. This is almost against the union rules to deny your people a rest stop and food. No one's going to press it, but come on. So anyway, I'm getting off track here. But that's how I found I made my squad a lot better than it was, okay? And I found out that within 6 months, there was a problem there. I'll get back. There was a problem there where these guys couldn't get time off from comp time, which was ridiculous. Okay, the past guys wouldn't let them have time off. So I went in there and told them, you get all the time off you want. So within like 2 months or so, my captain calls me. What's going on down there? Because he's the one that told me we got a problem. I told him, I explained to him what I told you. Everything's fine, everything's doing good, everything's great. What about that time off stuff? I go, well, we've been here 2.5 months, and 2 people have asked for a Friday and a Monday. Because that's it. That's it. You know, boss, they just need to know they can take it off if they want to, not that they necessarily want to do it. That's the key, okay? And I found out from these guys later on, another 6 months down the road, 5, 6 down the road, nobody wanted to be off because we were doing, remember, we did over, we're close to 500 search warrants the time I was in there for 2 years, okay? 28 a month, so 280 plus 20, almost 300 a year times 2. Okay, we had some times off we didn't do warrants, but I'm just kind of guessing. Probably about 520 search warrants. Okay, it's a lot of work. A lot of work. Okay, and so I told him that we do warrants, and this is not doing warrants, you know, on TV with Hollywood and Charlie's Angels. This is South Central Watts. Okay, government projects, gang houses, gang members. Okay, dangerous. Extremely dangerous, okay? I equate that to really going out on patrol in Vietnam. Just about as dangerous, okay? Guns everywhere. They know who we are. We're in uniform. We don't know who they are. They're in plain clothes, okay? Or they're dressed as civilians. My point here was that I found out 2 or 3 months later, I'm back on track again, that I kept wondering, why does anybody take some time off? It's weird. I thought there'd be just tons of people, and give me 4 days, give me 3 days. No! I found out the reason why they did not want to take time off is they were afraid they were going to miss something. They were afraid, especially the guys in front. The 2 guys in front, one had a Benelli semi-automatic shotgun, and the one behind him, the guy in front was my assistant. One behind him was one of my trusted guys. He had just a regular pump-action Ithaca, and then behind them was pistols. Those 2 guys in front did not want to miss a day because they know that if they take a day off and go with their family, they'll come back Monday morning going, hey, we just got in a shootout. And it was the first guy in front. I missed it. Okay. And I could take this personally because when I first came a detective and went to a squad in what they call field enforcement, I was a young guy, put the new guy out front. So I was with the shotgun through that door. Okay. That's adrenaline times 100 going through that friggin' door. They pop that door with a battering ram and you are the first one through. That's the first thing these crooks see. I'm not trying to say I'm a hero. I'm just saying anybody that does that, we had 18 squads doing search warrants at any given time. Somebody has to go there. Somebody has to go through that door. Okay. So I knew personally that what they were taught, what they were thinking about is I'm picked for the top first 2 guys by my boss, and he expects me to take care of business. And if I take off for a day and they put somebody else in there, 2 things may happen. One, the guy may get killed, which is sad, the officer. But second, I may miss a chance to get in the shooting. And I'm not saying they're looking forward to getting the shooting, but they don't want to miss getting in the shooting. That's the key. It was really weird. It was a weird phenomenon. Okay, they all felt that way. So the squad was fixed, and it was doing really well. Okay, so then 9/11 hit. Okay, and do I have time for 9/11? How am I doing over there?
You're at 8.5 minutes.
Okay, let me start this. I may not be able to finish it. 9/11 hit, and all of the narcotic units were made into a squad formation, 10 of us. There's probably 20 squads all over the city following targets, so targets that were given to us by our department and by FBI and all these different people. And we're just monitoring. We're not doing any enforcement, just watching what people are doing, keeping track of some people that look like they could be doing something bad for the citizens of Los Angeles and for our country. So, but we were thrown together and had top step over me. I talked this about before. And we got people that were just thrown together, narcotic officers. Well, some were good, some weren't so good. And so we had to train them. Okay, so back to how long squads stay together. Oh, by the way, the other squad, I'm sorry, I missed the one. The other squad that I worked in South Central, there for 2.5 years. And then things were broken up. There was a scandal in another division, and the chief overreacted, as usual, as he always does. Bad chief, I told you about. So he decided to change all the top steps around, move them around, and he called it a clean slate or fresh eyes. That's a crock. He just wanted to do something to pacify the politicians, not honoring his department's thinking about this. And so I went and moved someplace else. I lost my liaison with the captain. Was giving me bodies. I wound up with another squad. It wasn't that good. Okay, so anyway, so 9/11 hits. We're all thrown together. Okay, so interesting. We had to teach them. The only two people that 10-man squad or person squad, and one lady knew how to do surveillance, was my partner and I. So that was rough at first. And then we started getting better at it. As soon as we got better at it, they sent all the narcotic units back to narcotics because the crisis had passed. We downsized big time. Went from 20 squads to basically one, okay? And luckily, the one that was left was my squad. And 3 or 4 guys in my squad who didn't know me, and they liked working there, but they wanted to go back and work with their buddies and where they came from. I can't blame them for that. So my boss asked me, what do you want? This is about, I'm trying to remember how long it was. It was about maybe 6 months, maybe, together, 6, 7 months. This lieutenant asked me, who used to be my partner, would like you to stay, me to stay. And I said, well, I only stay one condition, that I pick my own people. Because based on other squads that I had to work, were thrown together, even this 9/11 squad, thrown together. And if you don't pick the people, it's hard to be responsible for their actions because then you have to go back to the normal, I'm the boss, you know. Whereas just instead of, where I figure, you ask someone to do things for you, you don't have to tell them. Whereas the supervisor doesn't have any control, has to tell people, I'm the boss, you know, which happened a few times. If I have people that know I'm the boss, obviously I'm the boss, you ask them to do things and they take it as an order, which is, you know, the right way to do it. I mean, you don't run around screaming, you know, do what I say, do what I say. And I'm one of those kind of people. I had a lot of them in mind. I had 6 of them in mind. I'd already brought 2 over. And so he says, you pick wherever you want. So man, it was like, whew, it was like, like football draft day, and you're allowed to pick any of the top 10 athletes you want. I mean, that's just what it was. I was like in heaven, man. I want her, I want him, and I'm picking people. And it turns out, which is kind of weird, turns out I picked, talk about a multiracial squad. I had a female, which I loved. I had a black guy, not by choice. I mean, not by I had to. Yeah, I picked him. Okay, he was my guy to pick. I had a Puerto Rican. I had a white guy, 2 white guys, Caucasians. I had 3 Latinos. It was all, which it's just good because it kind of shows the makeup of the department, kind of. You just can't have all white, can't have all black, can't have all, you should mix. And again, but we said this, all my over 500 things I've talked about, some of them are in there, pick the quality of these people, not necessarily what color they are. Just happen to be black. I'm telling you, I've told you my stories where I mention race sometimes, done that a bunch of times, only to give you a perspective as where I'm at. Like I'm working a black area, I'm working at a black barn, just because the story continues of why it's important to tell you that it was a black person or a Latino person or a white person. Not because I want to make this thing kind of racial story. No, that's the last thing I want to come up with, okay? So, pick these guys, and I mean, I picked them around, 2012, and I retired in 2007, and I still had them with me. Okay, 5 years. Unbelievable. And there was a bump in the road there, but on my captain was a bump in the road where I had to almost threaten him that that I was going to leave because there was a problem with my lieutenant, and that if I left, all 9 would go with me. And I wasn't lying. I told him. He goes, what? All these people I brought over, and they're not here because they have to be. I told you that before. They're here because they want to be. They want to work for me, and I respect them to bring them over here, and I protect them, and I promote them. We have a nice, solid camaraderie here of supervisors and subordinates, of just partners. Remember now, I told you before, of those 9, 3 of them are still my friends. One of them is, I have a 4th that I see off and on, but the other 3 are very close. We talked to each other. We had dinner with one of them a couple weeks ago. Okay, that's how close we were. So that was, again, 5 years, a little over 5 years, that squad. So that ends the squad, how long squads stay together. And I've got the timing just right, I hope. I'm doing okay. And we'll continue next time. All right, see you later. Bye-bye.